I'm not damaged, I'm just curious. I'm not damaged, I'm just curious. We should not threaten. We should not threaten. He's a congressman. He's a congressman. My mother-in-law was an acrobat. My mother-in-law was an acrobat. He would return 2 centuries later. He would return 2 centuries later. Can it promote at dusk? Can it promote at dusk? Was his grandfather a jeweler? Was his grandfather a jeweler? Not reporting for 2 weeks. Not reporting for 2 weeks. You can develop 10 years. You can develop 10 years. They will not wage war. They will not wage war. We can throw. We can throw. Can we hold a minute's silence for the victims of the tragedy? Can we hold a minute's silence for the victims of the tragedy? Won't they air it later at 5 p.m.? Won't they air it later at 5 p.m.? His half-sister was a cashier. His half-sister was a cashier. Can't we believe it after 5 months? Can't we believe it after 5 months? His stepson was a sculptor. His stepson was a sculptor. Can you play weekly? Can you play weekly? Will be collected on a weekly basis. Will be collected on a weekly basis. Wasn't he settling? Wasn't he settling? Our wife was a hairdresser. Our wife was a hairdresser. Should not referee every year. Should not referee every year. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience. Should you approach often? Should you approach often? I was watching a western when the phone rang. I was watching a western when the phone rang. Sometimes it won't show up. Sometimes it won't show up. Will it post in a second? Will it post in a second? Will we not borrow? Will we not borrow? I can't believe how terrible this is. I can't believe how terrible this is. Was my mother-in-law a caregiver? Was my mother-in-law a caregiver? Don't they need to review? Don't they need to review? Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Congress passed a new law to address the problem. Did not explain. Did not explain. The doctor will need to examine you before prescribing the medicine. The doctor will need to examine you before prescribing the medicine. Shall we get closer to 4 midnight later? Shall we get closer to 4 midnight later? He couldn't believe it the night before. He couldn't believe it the night before. Can't it burn next year? Can't it burn next year? Didn't you place it 1 week ago? Didn't you place it 1 week ago? I need to print some documents. Do you know where the nearest printer is? I need to print some documents. Do you know where the nearest printer is? Can you give more information about the product? Can you give more information about the product? I'm looking for a room with a river view. I'm looking for a room with a river view. Should not exist. Should not exist. Didn't he rest? Didn't he rest? Doesn't he manage? Doesn't he manage? I judge 10 years. I judge 10 years. He can't wonder after 5 in the morning. He can't wonder after 5 in the morning. I was not sleeping now. I was not sleeping now. Was my stepbrother a weightlifter? Was my stepbrother a weightlifter? Will be accepted last year. Will be accepted last year. I can fall any day. I can fall any day. Our stepmother is a factory worker. Our stepmother is a factory worker. You are the stockbroker every month. You are the stockbroker every month. Hadn't we attended? Hadn't we attended? I have to go to the doctor. I have to go to the doctor. Then they will be scavengers. Then they will be scavengers. May object. May object. Their son is a taxi driver. Their son is a taxi driver. Should not take. Should not take. You were suspicious. You were suspicious. Would we settle in? Would we settle in? Won't be defeated. Won't be defeated. Did not appear. Did not appear. Can he do groceries later? Can he do groceries later? Can't get a job right away? Can't get a job right away? His aunt was a bounty hunter. His aunt was a bounty hunter. That limit. That limit. He's not always a laundress. He's not always a laundress. He stood behind her as he spoke. He stood behind her as he spoke. Can't they escape sometimes? Can't they escape sometimes? You have to climb. You have to climb. I'm reading my favorite author's book. I'm reading my favorite author's book. We can live every day. We can live every day. Didn't I apply? Didn't I apply? Are your relatives hairdressers? Are your relatives hairdressers? May not cause. May not cause. Shouldn't he be a civil engineer after one day? Shouldn't he be a civil engineer after one day? I would be a monthly businesswoman. I would be a monthly businesswoman. Wasn't he the manager then? Wasn't he the manager then? Won't they air it later at 5 p.m.? Won't they air it later at 5 p.m.? May not name immediately. May not name immediately. Wouldn't I be a fashion designer for 5 afternoons? Wouldn't I be a fashion designer for 5 afternoons? Were his colleagues landscape architects? Were his colleagues landscape architects? We should joke every month. We should joke every month. I have a strange stone son. I have a strange stone son. Are their neighbors a gynecologist? Are their neighbors a gynecologist? They could not sleep. They could not sleep. Can it change at noon? Can it change at noon? Will not be suitable. Will not be suitable. I'm going to the bar. I'm going to the bar. Can't he beat? Can't he beat? We have to bank her often. We have to bank her often. I don't want to lose my magazines for the machine. I don't want to lose my magazines for the machine. They watch the news every morning. They watch the news every morning. I was so stupid that I closed my sky. I was so stupid that I closed my sky. My children were minors. My children were minors. Are we going to compare 4 weeks ahead? Are we going to compare 4 weeks ahead? The middle of the week is usually when my energy is highest. The middle of the week is usually when my energy is highest. Should not be placed in the normal way. Should not be placed in the normal way. Were our children educators? Were our children educators? Can you make it to the game tonight? Can you make it to the game tonight? Didn't you always appreciate? Didn't you always appreciate? Can you shepherd every year? Can you shepherd every year? Are there stepson firefighters? Are there stepson firefighters? Is my grandfather a boxer? Is my grandfather a boxer? I don't think he likes me very much. I don't think he likes me very much. His friends were scientists. His friends were scientists. I'm going to read an English novel. I'm going to read an English novel. Were your cousins decorators? Were your cousins decorators? He didn't force it 3 hours ago. He didn't force it 3 hours ago. Can it go after 1 month? Can it go after 1 month? Rarely become a taxi driver? Rarely become a taxi driver? His brother is a sports reporter. His brother is a sports reporter. I will dance. I will dance. I'm going to buy a new dress for the party. I'm going to buy a new dress for the party. Is your aunt a vocalist? Is your aunt a vocalist? Should never push. Should never push. Not everyone is comfortable speaking in public. Not everyone is comfortable speaking in public. Can he fix it later at 1 a.m.? Can he fix it later at 1 a.m.? I should have been an artist before. I should have been an artist before. He can speak more than one language. He can speak more than one language. Didn't we just exist? Didn't we just exist? His wife was a mechanic. His wife was a mechanic. Did we collect 3 months ago? Did we collect 3 months ago? Do you have to be a plumber after 5 days? Do you have to be a plumber after 5 days? The World Bank is one of the major international organizations responsible for providing financial assistance to developing countries. The World Bank is one of the major international organizations responsible for providing financial assistance to developing countries. Can 10 years joke? Can 10 years joke? Your mother was a postman. Your mother was a postman. This is so annoying. This is so annoying. His grandfather was a recruiter. His grandfather was a recruiter. Were his grandchildren mechanics? Were his grandchildren mechanics? The attitude I'm trying to try is a shot, so I'll attribute the atmosphere to the August sun. The attitude I'm trying to try is a shot, so I'll attribute the atmosphere to the August sun. I'm going to clean my house from top to bottom. I'm going to clean my house from top to bottom. He proves it. He proves it. Please correct the errors in your article. Please correct the errors in your article. Don't they count the next 5 years? Don't they count the next 5 years? I'm in the closet room. I'm in the closet room. Can you report? Can you report? He would become a manager one day. He would become a manager one day. Should it never be removed? Should it never be removed? Were you the manager then? Were you the manager then? Now I don't accept. Now I don't accept. Should I be a columnist next year? Should I be a columnist next year? You have to be careful while driving. You have to be careful while driving. We do not ignore. We do not ignore. Can allow. Can allow. Now we can dance. Now we can dance. We did not create. We did not create. Is her brother-in-law a hairdresser? Is her brother-in-law a hairdresser? I will blow. I will blow. May become a urologist a year. May become a urologist a year. Was my father an environmentalist? Was my father an environmentalist? Didn't they dream in the twilight? Didn't they dream in the twilight? Do you have any plans for the weekend? Do you have any plans for the weekend? Isn't she a shop assistant at Sunrise? Isn't she a shop assistant at Sunrise? Should he collect it next year? Should he collect it next year? He played video games all day. He played video games all day. Your cousins were garbage collectors. Your cousins were garbage collectors. May I see your ticket, please? May I see your ticket, please? You can try it annually. You can try it annually. He is not teaching now. He is not teaching now. Can you add yearly? Can you add yearly? Were his cousins dietitians? Were his cousins dietitians? Can't they surround? Can't they surround? The environment is very important to our survival. The environment is very important to our survival. Your stepfather was an actor. Your stepfather was an actor. Doesn't it go forward? Doesn't it go forward? Does it pull? Does it pull? They must be plumbers. They must be plumbers. We rarely change. We rarely change. You can become a sociologist right away. You can become a sociologist right away. Did not appear. Did not appear. We are always politicians. We are always politicians. The impact of the new policy on the environment was not yet known. The impact of the new policy on the environment was not yet known. Shouldn't he be a therapist every year? Shouldn't he be a therapist every year? 4 weeks later I'm laughing. 4 weeks later I'm laughing. Can they understand? Can they understand? Your granddaughter is the photographer. Your granddaughter is the photographer. Shouldn't they be coaching every day? Shouldn't they be coaching every day? Didn't I spend? Didn't I spend? I'm going to the ice rink. I'm going to the ice rink. Leaves fall from the trees in autumn. Leaves fall from the trees in autumn. Can't we add it after 4 months? Can't we add it after 4 months? Couldn't he wait for the dawn? Couldn't he wait for the dawn? He loves taking pictures with his camera. He loves taking pictures with his camera. I have a big project to finish by the end of the week. I have a big project to finish by the end of the week. Can't sit after 4 years? Can't sit after 4 years? Are they going to sing in 2 minutes? Are they going to sing in 2 minutes? I don't want to lose my machine for losses. I don't want to lose my machine for losses. Her brother was a beautician. Her brother was a beautician. I want to say, if it's not scary, I'll go out. If it's not scary, I'll go out. I did not throw. I did not throw. Can you feed after 4 weeks? Can you feed after 4 weeks? Could have let 2 midnight earlier. Could have let 2 midnight earlier. We go to the movies on Friday nights. We go to the movies on Friday nights. Then not a historian. Then not a historian. The new store is located above the coffee shop. The new store is located above the coffee shop. Then he may not be a linguist. Then he may not be a linguist. Was my son an ecologist? Was my son an ecologist? They were free to leave the building after the fire alarm went wrong. They were free to leave the building after the fire alarm went wrong.